My name is Lupe Guzman, and I'm with Foothill Organics. We're a family farming operation. We farm in Ventura County, which is our home county, where I live, my brother lives, and my father and my mother. We farm in Riverside County, Lemons. We farm in Kern County, which is the county we're in right now, and we also farm in Tulare counties. We farm around 1,800 acres, of which 1,300 acres are certified organic, which consists of organic avocados, organic lemons, organic mandarins, and organic Valencias and navels. The block we're in right now is in transition for organic. It's into its first year, and we have a pretty much year-round program of oranges. We go from navels all the way through the summer, and then in the middle of the summer we transition to Valencias, which go all the way through November. And lemons are pretty much year-round, mainly Ventura County. We're getting 4 blooms throughout the year, which gives us a year-round supply. In the desert, we begin harvesting in September, and we go all the way through April. And in Kern and Tulare counties, we will control the harvest by either adding jib to the lemons, or we can deprive the trees from too much water, which will hold back the fruit and keep it smaller. We tend to do 2 to 3 size picks on the lemons. That's in Kern County and in Tulare counties. And it's the same practice in the desert, and it's the same practice in Ventura County. You look at market conditions. If the market needs small fruit, you downsize on the size structure that you're harvesting. If you're looking for large fruit, then you try to pick a size ring. That way you're able to maximize on the returns by going after the larger fruit. On the organic, every year we tend to see a demand for organics where buyers are looking to organic, trying to stay away from chemicals. So we see the market increasing between 6 and 9% on a yearly basis. It's a little bit more expensive to farm on organic because the organic chemicals tend to be much more expensive. The organic fertilizers are also, I'd say, 3 times more expensive than the conventional. You don't get as much input, especially nitrogen, on the organic. We're trying to stay away from the raw manures and the compost, mainly because of the labor intensity to put it in the orchards. And now with the new GAP regulations, you have to be really careful not to put any compost that hasn't been documented, that's been composted, into the fields. Otherwise, you run the risk of contamination in the soil. Weather has been a big concern, mainly in the desert. We get some days in the summertime where it gets up to 118, 120. We'll have issues with sunburn on some of the lemons on the exterior of the tree. Something like this here might be sunburnt on these oranges. Most of the time they'll grow out of it and it'll color and you won't even notice it. Other than that, one of the other obstacles is freeze, which we protect with wind machines. We run water during the cold nights, during the freeze nights. The water evaporates. It helps protect the tree by about 3 to 4 degrees. The wind machines do about the same, 2 to 4 degrees. And we'll apply copper. The copper helps. It won't let the ice solidify on the leaves. So there's a series of things that we'll do to try to help on cold temperatures, on freeze. On the other hand, one of the big issues right now on hand is the drought. We don't have enough water to waste, so we have to be careful. If we don't get significant amount of rains from November to December, and if we do have freeze nights in January or February, we have to be careful that we don't just turn the water on and just waste the water, because we know we're going to need that water through the summer months. The other protection that we have is crop insurance. So we're able to insure every orchard we farm in every county. And by having the crop insurance, we're able to have a guarantee that if for some reason we do have a bad freeze we'll be able to fall back on that insurance so that we can keep farming the following years. We try to watch the weather patterns. If we think that there's going to be a severe freeze, we'll get peril insurance on certain fields that tend to be really cold. The variety of fruit that we have on the trees, if it's an early variety and we know it's a cold area, we will try to pick early so that we don't run into the issue of losing the product, losing the fruit. And the other thing is by having the crop insurance, we're able to have more access to capital with the lending institutions. We are able to prove to the bank, to the lender, that our investment is protected. Therefore, they're more relaxed and more lenient on offering us capital for either capital improvements like new irrigation systems, new wind machines, or changing over from one commodity from oranges to lemons or to mandarins. That way, the bank knows that by us as a grower having the crop insurance, they are more open to financing. One of the other things that we've been trying to do to mitigate with the drought, wherever it's not really cold, we're trying to get away from the fan jets and going to a drip system, which is what we had in this field. So we're able to save about 30% of our regular water usage by going to the drip because we eliminate evaporation. The last claim that we filed, I believe, was on a hailstorm and partial freeze that we had 7 years ago, I believe. Other than that, we haven't, on our own acreage, we've opened claims in case we did have loss of production. We haven't had to use our insurance for many years. To us, we factor in the insurance as our cost of farming, just like we do an allocation for water, for frost protection, for the wind machines, for repairs. So we try to budget the cost of our crop insurance just as we do fertilizer, just as we do labor. We go back and we talk to farmers who've been farming citrus for 40, 50 years. I always say that we're learners because there's other growers who've been in this much longer than I have. And the one thing that keeps coming back all the time is they've gone broke 2 or 3 times. And I would always ask them, well, how did it happen? Well, we have a major freeze, we lose all our crop, and the tree won't produce for another year or 2. So how can you go farming when you have that type of loss and you don't have the crop insurance? For somebody to say, well, I self-insure and I'm going to put away 10 or 20% of my crop revenue every year in a separate bank account to self-insure, you'd have to be a very dedicated person to put that money aside and not touch it for well repairs or for replanting the orchards. By being able to buy the policy and having it in place year after year after year, the way we see it is we can sleep good at night, and we don't have to worry about that night when it's going to drop down to 18 degrees and not just the crop is lost, but the tree is damaged. Without the crop insurance, how are you going to keep farming the following year or the year after? That means that you could lose your investment. Or if you have a loan with the bank is going to say, well, you don't have a crop, your trees are damaged, but you still have to make the payments. So that's why we're firm believers on the crop insurance ourselves. The way I see it in the San Joaquin Valley, because it was one of the areas most affected by one of the major freezes, most farmers will carry the crop insurance. It's a little bit different in Ventura County because in Ventura County you don't have the bigger farms like we do here in the San Joaquin Valley. Down there it tends to be a lot of 10 and 20 and 30 acre parcels. A lot of those parcels, the people that own them or live on them don't rely on the income from the orchards to live off, where they are in another profession or their source of income is from another source. So I would say they're not really looking at the income from the orchard to feed their families off. So they tend not to want to buy crop insurance. A lot of the times they'll get approached by a row crop farmer or a berry farmer, and they'll tell them, well, look, you're not making any money on your avocados or citrus. If you lease us your ground, we will pay you $3,000-4,000 an acre, and all you have to do is collect your check every month. And they remove the trees, and that tends to be what's been going on in Ventura County here for the last 3-4 years. We still have really good supplies of water in Ventura County, differently than in San Joaquin Valley, mainly because of the drought. Our water allocations have been diminishing every year for the last 3-4 years. We grew up in Ojai, and my father, well, he was in walnuts, and development came, and all the big walnut farms got split up into 10 and 20 acre parcels by developers. So once that happened, we sort of transitioned into citrus, and we decided to do organic mainly because all our families live on the farms, and having to spray chemicals on the orchards, our kids will go out into the field, they'll grab an orange. A lot of the times they don't bother washing it, and we just wanted to stay away from having any chemicals applied so that it wouldn't affect our families, and also to protect the environment as much as possible. Our crop insurance agent, like I said, is part of our team. I can pick up the phone, ask them for a quick question about crop insurance. I can ask them for a document that one of my lenders or one of the bankers might be requesting, and we can get it within 20 to 30 minutes. So that's really important for us, relationship, and knowing that that person, if we forgot to update a report or file a paper, he's going to pick up the phone and call us. He's not just going to forget about us, and the next thing you know, the time date that it was due passed, and now you can't go back. So that's really important to us. Once in a while, when we submit some of our crop insurance documents to a lender, it's a little bit hard for them to understand. So maybe if we made the forms a little bit simpler for them to say, okay, we understand it from field to field, from variety, from lemons to Valencias to navels, and maybe have a little bit more clarity. For example, OC would mean certified organic, and OT is certified transitional. Well, we know it. A lot of the times the lender won't understand it, and sometimes they need more clarity on what the guaranteed returns per carton are. Sometimes they can't quite understand that as an organic grower, we're trying to push our processors, our packers, to give us a guarantee, so that we just don't go to a packer on a consignment basis like most of the conventional growers tend to do, where they will sign a marketing agreement with a packing house, and the farmer's been incurring all the costs for a year, and then you hand it over to the processor, and then the processor takes another 60 to 90 days to tell you what your actual utilization, what your actual sales were. So one of the things we've been pushing on our part as growers, we've been trying to work with processors who have been in the organic for 15 years in marketing, and we try to get them to give us a guaranteed pricing so that we know what we can budget our following years of operation. And I know we've been working on trying to make it simpler for the processor, so we try to get them to get us back the contract as soon as possible, showing what the guarantees per bin or per carton might be, so that we can in turn give it to our insurance agent so he can put it in his files. We're farming it because we want to take it to market. We don't want the crop insurance. The crop insurance is just there for that disaster that is not man-made, but it's a cause of nature. Mainly for us is because we want to pass this on to our children. I have 2 boys, 5 and 7, Wesley and Jacob. My brother has 8 3 boys, 5 girls, so we come from big families, and we want them to keep going what we've been doing. We have about 22 farm employees who are irrigators. They do a little bit of everything, weed abatement, they do pruning, they do irrigation repairs, even harvesting. And it's important to us because we know that we're part of those families, and those families are part of us. So the way we see it is we're just part of a big team, and everybody has a little bit to contribute to that big team.